patience, right, and the quality at bats are transferable in October. And the home runs against elite pitching, whether it's starting or out of the bullpen, is not. So all these years, when Judge hits 170, if Stanton takes the collar, if Gleyber Torres has a rough night, the Yankees have no chance to win. The reason why this is different and the reason why this is going to be an awesome season, and once Garrett Cole comes back, it is on. There is nobody, and I'll tell you, let me take a step back. I did say, once they got Josh Hader, all right, I can't say the Yanks are better than the Astros. They're better, and not just because they beat them a couple times. They are a better baseball team. The Yankees are legit because the Yankees are built different. Get that Cashman apology tour ready, because it's kind of, I might be a little early, 5 or 6 games in, but it's coming. And there's going to be a lot of people on that Cashman Express saying, hey, Brian, I was wrong, and I might be leading the caboose. That might be me, actually.
2 things, BT.
Yes.
First of all, welcome back.
Yes.
Nice to have you back here.
Yes.
Second, thank God they lost, because I couldn't tolerate you. I needed at least it has been a red-hot start. I mean, think about that. The Mets haven't won a game. The Yankees didn't lose one until last night.
I know.
Luckily, otherwise it would have been a little tough to take here.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I was saying the other day, the blueprint for Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone. Remember, they've had these blueprints going in and saying certain things are going to happen, and they don't pan out that way. I think everything the Yankees drew up so far in the offseason has come to fruition. One thing that I would be concerned about with the Yankees right now, not even Judge, although you can start to say, hey, is it the health? He's saying it wasn't the missing games in spring training, all that stuff. But you do worry a little bit about Judge with the cold start, but it is impressive that they can win without him. But more than that, to me, I love Nestor Cortez as a competitor, but he is a problem atop that rotation right now. And Cole's not coming back anytime soon.
Yep.
And the rest of the guys, they got to show that they could go deep into these games. Otherwise, it's going to be a ripple-down effect with starters not going deep into games and then overtaxing the bullpen. But again, we're nitpicking here with the Yankees. Even with the loss last night, I think it's as good a start as anybody could have imagined.
I'll tell you what, I don't know how. This is so impressive, and this is the thing that I think is eventually going to shoot them to a level, at least offensively, we haven't seen in a long time. Whenever they decide to put Volpe in the one hole, and we'll debate that a little later in the show.
He looks the best, by the way. I know Soto's been great, and Cabrera, Volpe.
He looks amazing. And somebody, and I want to stay in my lane, but I definitely study the swing. I appreciate the mechanics of the baseball swing. I've read Ted Williams' book. I watch videos all the time. I don't know how, you can change your swing. Even during the offseason where you have a margin for error, it's almost impossible to do it during the season in terms of an overhaul rather than a tweak. But I don't know how you get your talent base up and you become a first-round draft pick of the New York Yankees, and then one off season, based on several deficiencies and holes in your swing, you go in the lab, and now against 95, 6, 7, 8 mile per hour fastballs, cutters, changeup, dart, sinkers just, exploding 9, 10, 12 inches south. How in the world do you recreate a swing? I mean, what Anthony Volpe's doing is absolutely amazing. And he was a question. All right, we didn't think he would hit 209, but could he jump to 250? And now you got to start pushing the. Can he jump to 275? Is Volpe going to be a 280 guy? See, the thing about the Yankees that was so frustrating the last couple of years, and I've yelled about this really until I almost collapsed because it was exhaustive. It just really was, because they kept trying to win with the same recipe, and anybody that knows anything about the game, at least the way the game had changed, knew that it was a waste of time. So I told everybody this offseason, the Yankees are built differently, and the Yankees are ready to win because they finally have a left fielder. And, how many plays in a week? Verdugo's made 5 or 6 plays. The 13 left fielders that played left field for the Yankees a year ago couldn't make in their dreams. Soto changes everything. It's just a different team. They grind out the at-bats. Even last night, they didn't get around. They score off Galvin Earl. They didn't score at all.
Right.
But you're watching the first at-bat. Gleyber Torres, sees 5, 6, 7 pitches. Soto sees 7, 8 pitches. Judge sees a bunch. Before you know it, after one inning, basically, Galvin, who's a stud, is up to 20 pitches. That is going to be a nightly occurrence.
But Gallen did shut them down.
I know he did. I know he did.
So when we talk about it, I was saying, man, the only negative to this Yankee start is that it's April, not October, because what they're doing translates in October, but they faced one of the better pitchers in the game last night and got shut down.
No, listen, Sal, this is not the NFL where the 15-1 record, or at this point 15-2 or 14-3. It's not realistic. Like, I'm not even going over the top. That's why when you and I were yelling at each other for a week strght about, Yankee fans, where are the Stones,
right.
World Series or bust,
yeah.
World Series or bust, the mantra. I didn't get really, I certainly understood what Sal was saying, but I didn't get too wrapped up in that, because to me, it was going to be a slow, beautiful painting. Eventually, that would really have a chance to bear some fruit, meaning the pieces that are here are more compatible to that of a winning team. You got to get on base, dude. You got to move guys over. You got to make plays in the outfield. You have to
score runs without hitting home runs.
Yeah, that's a huge one. And the fact that, and not just because they're 5-1, and if you finish this off today, and hopefully they do, I mean, Friday's going to be absolutely nuts. We'll be out there at the Hard Rock doing the show live. BT and Sal show is going to be great. I mean, I could just Juan Soto. I mean, just go Juan Soto running out in pinstripes. He looks phenomenal in the Yankee gray. What is this guy going to look like in the Bronx in a couple of days when you see his batting average, flashing 512 back at you from center field? There is so much to love, and I will say this: a couple things to worry about, but for me, I knew the Yankees would be good. Some of these dopey projection nerdfest geeks who know nothing about baseball, Yankees are going to win 70 games. 70 games, my ass. They're going to win 70 games by August 1st. 70 games. Who are these losers that project this nonsense? The Yankees are as good as anyone. You get Garrett Cole back, it is go time for 28. They're that good.
Are you ready to say World Series or bust?
I told you what I told you the other day. You get Garrett Cole back, Yanks will win the World Series. Garrett Cole doesn't come back, Yanks can't win. You got to win.
Right,
you get Garrett Cole, they win.
But that is different than World Series or bust. Let's say Cole does come back. Point is, if they don't get to, I'll give you get to. Forget about even winning. I know the disappointment in getting to one and not winning, but still, let's just get to one first. If they don't get to a World Series, based on what they did in the offseason as far as bringing in Soto won his walk year, the start that they've gotten off to, the way they took out the Astros, and to your point, whether you had doubts about them being as good as the Astros, they left no doubt. They swept them 4 straight games in their building to start the season. I don't care what happened in years past. Right now, the Yankees are not afraid of the Astros, and they proved to be significantly better. If they don't make the World Series, disappointing season.
So
are you ready to go
of course it's disappointing. Okay. Of course, I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Okay, well,
it's disappointing. But like I said, again,
they took it to another level.
Listen, I'm taking it to another level. I thought that this team would be really good. They're better than I thought. So if I told you that I thought the Yankees would win, initially, remember, I said 95, 96 before Garrett Cole got hurt. And, I always said, I'm not conceding anything to the Baltimore Orioles or the Houston Astros or the Texas Rangers, the world champions, or anybody out the Rays, or you think Toronto's going to hit their way to a divisional title. The Yankees, for the first time, God, even more so than the baby bombers who were exciting and hit some bombs, but they were not built like this. I got news for DJ LeMahieu. Stay on ice, dude. Yeah. We don't need you. I mean, they might need you at some point. We don't need you now. Do not get in the way of this youthful exuberance, this energy. It is awesome to see. This is what Yankee fans have been clamoring for, and it's here. Let's go.
It's been a tremendous start. But there are some things, especially the second time through now with Cortez, that would concern me. Judge, Stanton, I know we didn't expect anything much of him anyway. Can Cabrera keep this up? The legitimate things that I think you got to be excited about is stuff you talked about before the year. Soto, Verdugo, Volpe, those are all looking terrific right now. Obviously, nobody doubted Soto's performance, but the Soto effect is real on the rest of the team. And Verdugo being another dog in that outfield. You expect Judge will pick it up at some point, so maybe that'll level off if Cabrera comes back down to earth for a little bit. I'm not concerned about the lineup. I do think that's sustainable long term. I am, though, concerned about the starting rotation and then the ripple effect on the bullpen.
Okay, 877-337-6666. BT and Sound on the Fan inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends of Town Fair remind you that you always get the guarantee lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. The grind is enjoyable. They're having fun. Remember when I said you get some guys, some live wires, that juice, the drip, the mojo, the flair, whatever word you want to use. Like the Yankees were so stoic and seemingly devoid of having fun playing a kid's game. I know it's big business. I get it. Aaron Judge is getting $1 gazillion, and then Soto's going to get a gazillion more when it's all said and done. Garrett Cole's getting a ton of money. Like, I understand the business aspect and what these teams are worth, but you cannot go out there. there every single day and night and get to the ballpark 3 or 4 hours before the game and take BP and go through pitchers meetings and go through hitters meetings and the minutia and the monotony of a baseball season, the travel every day. It's laborious, even though we'd all love to do it for 20% of what these guys are making. It can be boring. And when you're not having fun, when there's not that youthful injection, that exuberance, that bounce, it's a tough watch. And it's even tougher if you're on the team. It is. I can't wait till 3:40 today. I can't wait to go home, and for the first time in years, I'm sitting there saying, "I know it didn't work out last night. You don't want to do this every game. All right, whatever. Yanks it down 3-zip, big deal. You find a way to come back here. In the past, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a grand slam to come back.
Right.
It's
and
a different
lifeless.
feel.
Yeah, exactly right. They were lifeless. They gave you no hope. This is a different team, and losing a game not a big deal.
No.
I mean, there are some concerns in that they faced a good pitcher and didn't score the runs the way that they were.
Yeah.
And like we said, with Cortez putting them behind the 8 ball right out of the get-go, that can't happen. But the start overall for the Yankees has been as good as you could expect.
Let's get these calls here, Sal. 1013 on the fan. BT and Sal, I have made a little notation. I did get some text messages. I need to make sure I didn't catch a stray on my own show. Yeah. So we will get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, people were making a big deal.
Yeah,
I
I will get to that. The Evan stuff aside, I love Evan. Does not concern me. Even though I like Evan a lot, I think he's good at his job. Whatever went down with Evan is secondary to me because Evan is not a part of the show. It is BT and Sal. So as long as I did not catch a loose one or a stray, there'll be no problems. Yeah. We will investigate a little later. Okay.
Looking forward to that.
We will see what is said and what was said, and if because listen, you get Tom in Dallas trying to enjoy Easter, getting text messages. Your boy Sal's taking shots at you. Shots fired. I'm like, what? I'm like, it's got to be a Yankee Met thing, and then I hear. It might not be.
Yeah, so wasn't it?
We will.
Secondary was a Yankee Met thing, and you and I have not discussed this off the air, so I look forward to doing it on the air.
We will do it.
There was one text yesterday that you sent, and I was like, they're making a big deal of it and whatever. So we'll see what you thought of it when you heard of it.
All right, let's get Billy in Norwalk, Connecticut, BT and Sal. Bill, what's going on, buddy? How are you today?
Yeah, very good. Quick question, then I'm going to hang up. And I know you're talking Yankees, but
hold on, Bill. Hold on. I have a question for you. When you say you're going to hang up. This is not 1985. How about, provided you're not boring, how about you stay on the line for a second and we can have a conversation?
I'll be in the car for an hour, so...
You're lucky if you get 2 minutes. But go ahead, Billy. What's going on, bud?
Quick question.
Yes.
I think it was Sal yesterday that said, look, I'm a Mets fan, but so good for the Yankees. But before the season started, the pipe dream of Soto after a year going to the Yankees. All right, the pipe dream is over because the season has started. And I think it was yesterday Sal said, Soto.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been saying that for a long time, yeah.
Okay, but why would Soto ever sign with the? I mean, he might.
I just told you yesterday. I just told you yesterday.
I should have let him hang up. By the way,
yeah.
I invite the guy to hang around. He's going Soto to the Mets already.
So
get out of
here.
here.
So somebody called yesterday.
What happened?
With that. No, somebody called yesterday with that saying, "Why would Soto ever go to the Mets?" And what was my obvious?
Sal's been saying that for months.
That's it.
And by the way, whenever that comes up, I don't run from the possibility that, especially this Mets season, let's face it, optically, and we'll get to the Mets at 11. Got some thoughts. I know you obviously did the show the last couple of days by yourself. Like if the Mets have a disaster of a season, which they very well might, Cohen's going to be pissed and desperate, and that is going to equate to massive money.
Right, but one thing on that, and I gave you credit the last 2 days in saying that, in my mind, the results of this season wouldn't impact Soto's decision.
Oh, okay. So when you say the results of this, do you mean the results from the Mets' perspective?
Both.
Okay. Go ahead.
But after watching the start on both sides, you'd be a fool not to feel like it might have. So now it's very early, but look at the Yankees' hot start. Look at Soto, the way he's having so much fun and playing with passion. He looks like he loves being a New York Yankee and having fun. And you look at the lifeless Mets who can't win a game and score any runs. Like, yes, ultimately, I do think money's going to talk, but I was dismissing the notion of the results for either team mattering And you'd be a fool not to think that at least should come into account, especially after the start.
I remember that conversation well, Sal. I really do. I remember saying, listen, guys, this is before the Mets got J.D. Martinez, and, hopefully they can salvage this thing and get some wins and get out of April. Again, we'll do Mets heavy. I've got a lot of thoughts on them. I can't wait to talk all about it. I mean, the 2 days I missed, Easter. No offense to Easter. I love Easter, but bad timing. I mean,
I get it.
Either start the baseball season a lot earlier or a week later, because it's not good for what I want to talk about. But I think that, and I was fearful from a Mets perspective, like if the Mets are, a 75, 76 win team and Soto's taking a peek back at Queens and he's seeing 18, 19,000 people in city and they're not very competitive, and the Yankees, the whole Dominican population, everybody, but specifically from the DR is just vibing, and there's this juice and this energy, and the Yankees are cranking out 7-8 runs a night. I know they won't average 7 runs, but you know what I mean. And Soto's, blasted, and Judge is blasted, and Volpe 2-0's the real deal, and this and that and this. I did think that was going to matter. And it's only a week, but let's face it, Soto, you can't have a more perfect start to a Yankee career than Soto's had. You can't.
Right. And on the opposite side of town, you can't have a worse start.
True.
So the two combined makes it, to me, way worse. And, if the Mets are to get him, it may have to be for $100 million more.
Oh my God!
Remember how you were criticizing Cohen for not going way over for Yamamoto?
Yes.
And I was like, well, he gave the most, $325. Dodgers match it. Well, that can't happen. It's going to have to be, and I know this sounds ridiculous, $800 million or $750. I'm just saying,
it might have to be that way.
If the Yankees are at 6,
yeah,
the Mets are going to have to be minimum at 7 or 7.
I know what you mean. You've got to do something to entice them, because if the on-field product is not the enticement, then you've got to go above and beyond.
$50 million, is that enough?
No, not the way that the Yankees with their branding, because you can kind of make that back. So listen, the Soto conversation. We might talk Soto, Yanks, Mets. The one thing we don't want to do is when we're talking Yankees, just always bring the Mets into it. When we're talking Mets, always bring the Yankees in. That gets old. That gets played out. But the Soto stuff is not going away. It's going to be a daily check of Juan Soto's Yankee pulse, and obviously there's repercussions there for the Mets. Let me get Danny in Lafayette, BT and Sal. Dan, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
Hello, Dano.
How we doing? BT, go a little easy on Sal later, all right? He loves you.
I mean, I think he does love me, and I still believe that. I do. It's got to make sure.
What it is? He knows he needs you on the show, and that's what makes it complete. He was a little upset, but hey. You guys are perfect.
Well, we appreciate that. It is
Thanks,
funny
Dan.
you say that, because I know we'll get to it a little bit later, but what I said, I felt it was a compliment in a lot of ways.
I agree.
If you actually think about it, I could, would it be like, oh, great, thank God he's not here. I could do the show, have it all to myself. Instead, I was like, sucks. I wish you were here. We did the Met Yankee thing all in the offseason. Here we are the first weekend. I get it. It's family obligation, whatever. But I actually thought it was a compliment, but people were taking it the other way. Anyway, we'll have that later.
Okay, Dan, I'm happy, Danny. As a listener, I'm happy that you heard that. I certainly appreciate the sentiment. And you're probably right. We just need to flush it out a little bit later. Now, go ahead, Dan. What's happening?
I'll be listening. So my thing is, I don't think Soto's going anywhere. I think at the end of the season, if the Yankees really pull this through and have a great year, he's loving it. Cohen can offer him whatever he wants, but he's going to look over there and be like, man, they suck. $100 million isn't going to pull me away to be on a team that sucks. I want to be on a winning team. That's going to be
Dan, let me throw this, and I'm going to actually throw this at Sal. Appreciate the call, buddy. 877-337-6666. I do agree with a lot of what Dan just said, but you can't minimize this. Now, I don't know exactly, well, I surmise it's money, but it's not the NBA where if you don't win a championship, your legacy is all forever affected. Like Durant had to get his. Think about the way we process Ewing's career and Barkley's career and Stockton and Malone versus the other guys who won multiple chips. Isaiah Thomas, others like that, right? And I say Isaiah because he's not clearly one of the top 10. Those guys are, all-timers, Kareem and Wilt and Bird and Magic, etc. But there's a level of criticism that comes a basketball player's way or a quarterback, Sal, if they don't win a championship. Baseball's different. And, by the way, he already won one.
Right.
So he can make it solely just about baseball.
And money.
That's what I meant. Just about money.
Right. And by the way, there are, I'm not even going to get into the appealing thing about the Mets because right now there isn't anything. But if he wanted to be the guy to bring a down franchise up, maybe that would be appealing to some. But it's going to be at a cost. It was always going to be at a cost. every day that the Mets and Yankees play,
Yep.
the cost goes up and up and up for the Mets, where maybe the Yankees have a chance of getting him at a decent discount for being a New York Yankee.
Oh, wait till he hears that shower of praise coming up on Friday.
Right,
and you're going to be in there. Don't start booing. Don't try to offset that adulation that's coming Soto's way.
No way.
I'm just teasing. 877-337-6666.
You know, I loved him. I told you my favorite player before he became a Yankee. Based on the 2019 postseason and based on the fact that the guy, what have you heard from Pete Rose, the greatest hitter of all time, right? Never give away at bats.
He doesn't.
Juan Soto doesn't give away at bats. He treats them all like they're postseason.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, same with Brunson and some other guys that get here. I'm not saying that Brunson's equivalent, that he's a top 1 or 2 player in the NBA like Soto is in terms of a batter or a hitter. But there's certain guys, that they're amazing. And then you watch them do their craft every night, and they're even better than you thought. And that's Soto. I know it's early, but wow. 877-337-6666. To me, Yanks are better than I thought. And I was pretty high on him. And this might be the year of the Cashman apology tour. Somebody we've harpooned and really just, ripped to shreds. How else to say it? I've absolutely destroyed Cashman. Man had a pretty good offseason, and they look like they are ready to go. PT and Sal on the Fan.